Oh, it's time. Time to get radical.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Radical Comment of the Week for March the 7th through March the 13th, 2022. These are the very best comments from that time period. Starting out with the three honorable mentions, we have Shenanitims, Martyville, and Dumas. The bronze medal comes to us from Manuel Hung. Radical Wedgie, the least dislikable of the MGR crew besides Seattle Sally, Kelsey Lewin, with the pink gorilla from Manila store. At least she works in her shop for a living and opts out of the begging for bucks lifestyle. Wedgie by Reggie, or Hentai Reg as he likes to be known after dark, seems the type of guy that would borrow your collection then lose it in a home invasion. Really don't understand how a homeless guy standing on a street corner begging is illegal, but MGR crew with as many thousands of dollars in games and a roof over all their heads can legitimately beg for money. A flood and a plague on all their houses. One down, one to go. Thank God there are channels like yours calling these guys out for their scams and schemes. Well, I would say, we're on half a decade now. Was it 6 years? No, 5 years, 6 years. It's been a while. Half a decade since I started calling out the MGR crew. This, of course, began at the end of 2018 when Metal Jesus has his big basement leak situation. And since then, I haven't done a whole lot of calling out of a lot of the MGR crew. I haven't kept track. But I will agree that Radical Reggie is probably maybe the least dislikable. Oftentimes, people that come here, they will agree with me. And they'll say, that John Hancock or that Metal Jesus, they're kind of scummy and whatnot. But hey, Radical Reggie's cool. Radical Reggie's cool. So people have their ideas of who in the crew is okay, who's not, who's the most scummy, who's least scummy. But really, I try to be fair and objective. And I even call Radical Reggie out for a couple different things. I remember back when he needed some gas to get to a convention of sorts, and he actually had a bar going left to right, a gas money bar, basically. I forget the details of it, but I just thought that was kind of crazy. And talking about legalities, it's perfectly legal to e-bec. It is. It's crazy as it sounds. It's perfectly legal, not maybe ethical if you have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in rare games. With Reggie, it's rare Japanese games that you could very easily auction off. You could go to a game store and you could get money to get the gas money to go to places, to get the money to fix your car. His Altima that had all the freaking rust and bullet holes or whatever. It's weird because and maybe that's put on for show. I mean, I'm not saying it's not his actual car, but I just thought it's kind of weird to put on that for show. I kind of like as a badge of honor, that you're driving this hunk of junk vehicle, yet you have an amazing game collection. It's kind of weird. And when it comes to the collector culture, a lot of people in that culture, let's just be honest, you're kind of weird. I mean, there's your regular collectors, then there's your MJR crew collectors and everything. Yeah, I think I covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover. In responding to that comment, thank you, Manuel Hung. The silver medal comes to us from Will's VG Game Addiction. I think the Lakers, the LA Lakers, are stuck where they are. They went all in with LeBron James and had a win-now mentality when they did that. They got their championship out of him, and I don't think there will be any more for the Lakers in the LeBron era. In my opinion, the same thing that got them to the championship is what will keep them in mediocrity for years to come. Anthony Davis has a fragile body and a massive ego and selfish personality. He's going to stay frequently injured, but he got his money, and I don't think he'll ever be as good as he was a few years ago. Russell Westbrook is still a good player, but his game doesn't mesh well with most teams, and I think he may be a bit delusional when it comes to his negative impact, which is why he gets bounced around to a new team every year. He needs to adapt his play style to help the Lakers, or whatever team he winds up with, to fill in the gaps where they're leaking instead of trying to be Mr. Statman. The Lakers already have a stat man in LeBron. The Lakers have players people are willing to pay to watch play. Who cares if they're good or not? They're profitable, and that's all the team's front office should be concerned with until LeBron retires. Zoom ahead a year or two after this. Well, now, almost 2 years since this comment. And they're still kind of stuck in mediocrity. They still are. They got rid of Westbrook. And most people thought, at least the media thought, that was a big problem. LeBron and AD, they weren't the problems. It was Westbrook. We just get Westbrook out of here and that'll solve all the problems. People tend to forget that LeBron was the main cheerleader to get Westbrook in there. So let's not pretend he didn't do like a lot of maneuvering to get Westbrook in there. It's not that Westbrook is a bad player. He just didn't mesh with the Lakers. He did not. He's a really hard-working player. He tries to get those rebounds. He's a stat machine. Not the smartest player and everything, but it did mesh with that team. Pretty much everyone thought that was not going to work for that team. And now he's on the Clippers. Clippers doing pretty good. So I guess maybe he found his fit there. But the thing about the win now mentality is if you go all in and you win, some people would say that's a success. Maybe if you're the Washington Wizards or the Detroit Pistons or the Orlando Magic and you don't have a history of winning and a history of greatness, then going all in makes a lot of sense. Because for some teams in some markets, it could mean a huge deal for those teams and those states and those cities to be able to hang championship banners, to be champions. The Lakers don't need that. And recently they had the little championship where they got the in-season tournament. They hung a banner for that, as laughable as that was. Then they wound up losing most of the games after they did that. The Lakers don't need that. The Lakers never needed LeBron to be relevant. You call it the LeBron era. I argue, I don't know if this was really the LeBron era. Like Jordan had an era, but I don't know if LeBron had an actual era. I mean, maybe in the East, but I mean, you could easily say Jordan in that small window of time. That was an era. But thing is, LeBron's been playing for 21 years now, and he only has 4 championships in that time. I mean, it's still a lot of championships, but only 4 over 21 years, considering the kind of talent he's had on his teams and the kind of control he's had on his teams. So you can't argue that the whole 20-some years is the LeBron's era. You could argue that Kobe had an era because that was a smaller window of time. That's the way I look at it. And now it is time for the gold medal of the week. This shiny, shiny gold medal comes to us from first-time commenter Art Bell. It's an insult to the viewer of his videos. Smash JT's $10,000 fund he displays on live shows to coax money tipped to him in super chats, as if it's our job to hand money to restore him. F Smash for his secret gems about INTV. How good Tommy's Ferrari stick shaft gripped? I'm not an utter fruit cup, reaching for another man's grapes. I suppose his entitlement to be made whole, an expectation this added to by the Hey Rick No Patreon, he in ways lobbies to get a video on that made. Smash, he did the right thing. After that video is made, he turns on the join button, so nothing has changed. Another irritation was his proclamation that he has no care for YouTube anymore, thank God. But behind the scenes, he has an endless worry. It's a side hustle. YouTube is an ATM to him and always was. The betrayal of pretend pal Tommy Tallarico stands. At the after tour meetup, Smash tells Tommy Tallarico, I invested $10,000 and you did not believe me. Tommy Tallarico, yeah, goes quiet. Not much to say, maybe from fear, since even then he knows it's just a 17 million Patreon to give salaries. If you have no way but hope and luck to get 35 million bucks, and the 155 million line of credit was never a sure thing. It's panhandling to investors hoping they don't check the warnings. Smash JT was banned from the Facebook Amico fans only group. Cute swerve. Contribute is in his description. has a $10,000 recovery fund. YouTube is a side hustle, an ATM cash machine. He chose it over Amico and Tommy Tallarico since it will restore his lost 10K. Join button pushes it a bit, brings it up in a big way. Like a parent overreacts to good behavior of a child. Very beat 'em ups in Nintendo Prime of him in YouTube style. They hit the ceiling. Smash gets quite animated. He brags that he shut down his Patreon, but the ad money, super chats, and join monthly memberships is the same thing. A good business decision to lean on viewers to be made whole, as Miko is thinking fast it seems. Burden of viewer, ads should be enough, daily live streams, vacation from parenting for these chuds. He expected to be fine revealing private group content and failed to get it ahead of time. Weak to not get the screen caps, weak coverage, he has to end a segment. Smash JT is just now learning. Shake my head. Okay. A lot here, and for some reason, my TV screen is refreshing. I don't know what the hell's going on here. It's almost like I just get right to the comment. Okay. I was just having some technical issues. My apologies. I don't know much about the $10,000 fund. I do not know much about that. And I'm not going to go back in time and try to figure that out. I will say, let's talk about some things I really want to reach on here. The bragging of no Patreon, yet adding the join. I do agree that it's pretty much kind of the same thing. It's very equivalent. So if there's a brag of, I'm getting rid of my Patreon, I have no Patreon, but then you add back the join, it's pretty much the same thing. He says that he has no care for YouTube anymore. Well, I mean, it's a drinking game. That's one point of criticism for Smash from a lot of people is he kind of waffles back on, well, I'm not really into YouTube, and then, well, this, and tell me what I need to do on YouTube. And there's so much here that if I were more caught up, and this is not 2 years removed, I'd be able to tell you a whole lot more from what I remember. But I will say from what I remember from years back is that Smash just seems like maybe it's now different, but it seems like he kind of bounces back from YouTube's not a big deal for me to stressing about YouTube to not stressing about YouTube. Then, there's like a little waffling back and forth. And to be fair, I think a lot of people sometimes they might waffle back and forth on the importance of YouTube to them. So he's not like the only one in that. Talking about side hustle, YouTube is an ATM to him and always was. I will say, generally recently, myself and Smash, I'm sure, along with many other people, were rightly disgusted with Gerard the Completionist and everything that he did. So, weirdly, I, as a person who used to criticize Smash JT for several things, I applauded him in his coverage of that situation. He was one of the people at the forefront. He was right out here, along with myself, several others, that were covering that. And, if you're, you can make an argument, maybe he did that for his own reasons, maybe for views, maybe for subs and whatnot. Regardless of that, it is really great that he was covering it like he was. We needed more of that, I believe. You might not agree with that, but I did thank him and I commended him for the detailed coverage of a lot of that. Now, talking about the betrayal of Tommy Tallarico, yeah, that is betrayal, plain and simple. If you invest $10,000 to your pal Tommy Tallarico, the guy that you went around in Ferrari rides with, then that's kind of messed up, man. But also, if you would look at the history of Tommy Tallarico, you got to admit it's not the smartest thing in the world to trust in someone like that. In comparison, I would have probably smelled the BS from a mile away with Tommy Tallarico. I just have that built-in spidey sense when it comes to BS. So not even in person, just through videos, I can tell you, I'm not even a master person that, breaks down body language, but Tommy Tallarico is a scammer. You can tell this guy's a scammer. You can tell he's a liar. No damn way I'm giving this guy $10,000 for anything.